Happy Valentine's Day. My name is Candace, aka Picasso baby, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create your very own lovebirds. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, thank you so much for stopping back by to paint with me today. Happy Valentine's Day. Today is the day of love. So whether you are spending it with your partner, your children, your family, your friends, or even yourself, make sure you love on yourself or someone else today. So I'm going to be showing you how to create your very own lovebirds today. But as always, before we get started, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so that you do not miss the next tutorial. So today I am going to be working with a 8 by 10 inch canvas. Remember, you can use the canvas size of your choice. It is completely up to you. And I'm also going to be working with a few different size acrylic brushes. So you just want to get a few larger and smaller sizes, and then make sure you have a cup of cold water to wash your brushes and also a napkin to dry them off on. And as far as our paints today, I am working with acrylic paint. I'm using Blick acrylic paint, and I'm using the colors Bright Red, Phthalo Blue, Burnt Sienna, Chrome Yellow, Titanium White, and Mars Black. And as always, you can find all of the supplies that I'm using down in the description below. So let's go ahead and get started. So today's painting is super simple. It's not going to be a difficult one at all. It's perfect for all ages and all Valentine's festivities. But what I'm going to do, I want to start out with my background. So I am going to be using a larger flat brush for this part. And I'm going to start with a little bit of red. Now my background is going to be some lighter pinks and some darker reds. If you would like yours to be a different color, remember you can use the color of your choice. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a line right down the middle. Now from that line, I am going to draw a heart. So I'm just drawing a heart on each side. This just helps you make sure that you got the heart filled in or created the way that you want it. And now I'm not going to wash my brush. I'm just going to go right into some white, and I'm going to get the middle of that heart filled in. So as you can see, the white is pretty much making a really light pink because I don't have a lot of red on my brush. I have more white, so it's making a really nice light pink. You just want to make sure you get that center filled in. Now, I am going to create a gradient effect going around my heart. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pick up some more red, and I'm not washing my brush. I'm going to make another heart right around this one. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to paint over these lines. So I'm just making another one right around. This time I'm picking up a little more white, but I'm also going to pick up red as well. And I'm just allowing the colors to blend right on the canvas. And I do like to kind of overlap the last section that I did. So the first heart we did, I'm going to kind of overlap that a bit. So the first outline that we did should be completely covered at this point. If the second outline, the second heart that we did is not completely covered, that's okay, like the actual drawing of it, but everything between the first heart and the drawing of the second heart should be covered. Now, I'm going to go in with just red. I'm not washing my brush, but I'm only going to pick up red, and I'm going to mark off my corners. So I'm just kind of marking my corners off with a curve. And I'm going to make everything between those lines I just made and my second heart, I'm going to get that filled in with red. So just red here. right, now I am going to go in with red, and I'm not washing my brush, but I'm going to pick up a little bit of black. So I'm picking up red, a little bit of black, because I want to make more of a burgundy in the corners. So those last little areas I have left, I want to make a burgundy. So that our heart goes from light to dark. And remember, overlap that last layer. All right. Now, once you have done that, I'm going to do one more thing before I let it dry a little bit. I am going to go in with a smaller flat brush, and I'm going to take a little bit of white paint. So I'm going to take just a little bit of white, and I want to go back in the center of my original heart and lighten it up a bit. And if it's still wet, that's completely fine. I'm just going to go back in. And I'm not covering the entire heart, just kind of wiping it in some different areas so that this can be the lightest part. All right. Now, once you have that, all we're going to do is let this dry for a second before we actually start to add on our lovebirds. So as always, you can give yourself a 10 to 15 minute break to let this dry completely, or you can grab a blow dryer, dry it on the cool setting, and then we'll start back on the next step together in a few
moments later.
All right, so now that our paintings are dry, we're gonna go ahead and get started on the next step. So like I said, I am creating lovebirds. So I'm gonna switch to a medium-sized round brush. And the first thing I wanna do is I wanna create the tree that they're gonna be sitting on. So I'm gonna take a little bit of black paint, and I want my birds to kind of end up right in the middle here. So I'm gonna do my tree off to the side. So I'm gonna start right at the bottom here and just pull a line up, and I'm gonna curve it over my heart. Doesn't have to be perfect yet. We're gonna go back and fix it up, so don't worry about that part. And from there, I am going to pull a nice little branch right across my heart. And you see how I kind of did it where it has a little bit of a dip. If you want it to go across straight, it's completely up to you. But I'm going to go back in. And what I like to do for this, I like to start with a good amount of pressure to really make a nice size branch. So I'm like using some pressure on my brush. And as I get towards where I want to end at, I like to let up off the pressure so that it comes to a point. Now that I have the branch they're going to sit on, I'm going to go back in and get my tree together. So I want to go back on this line here. I'm going to make the tree trunk extend out a bit. So I'm just pulling the tree trunk out. And then I'm also going to go back and pull a line going straight up. And I'm going to make it like the tree is kind of cut off. So I'm just going to fill this whole side in here. And now I'm going to go and work on this branch that I curved over. And one thing about the branches, just like the tree trunk, you want the bottom to be a little bit wider than the rest of the branch. So you see how I'm kind of making this part a bit wider, but once I get to the end, I'm going to make sure that it comes to a bit of a point. Same thing here. I'm going to go back and kind of pull that out some more. And I'm going to also go in and pull out some little branches. Now feel free to switch to a smaller brush for this part, it's completely up to you. But I'm just pulling out some little branches to give it some extra detail. Same thing on this one. I'm gonna go and pull out a branch there and a little one there. But I'm kind of keeping that middle pretty open. I don't want to lose my heart, and I want to make sure I have space for my birds. Now, one thing I'm also going to do, I'm going to come from the bottom here, and I'm going to pull up really quick lines to give it some grass. I know it's still technically winter, and we don't have all of our grass back yet, but a good amount of it is growing back in. So I'm just gonna go and pull some grass out there. All right, and I'm gonna leave that as is. Now, I'm gonna switch to a really small brush. So still round, but just a smaller brush. If you were comfortable with the brush you're working with, feel free to continue to use it. But the first thing I wanna do is I wanna get the bodies of my birds on. And for their bodies, I am going to do almost like an oval or an egg shape. So again, for their bodies, I'm doing almost like a bit of an oval or egg shape. I am leaving a bit of space in between them. Just a little bit. Now, if you want yours snuggled up, you can put them closer together. It is completely up to you. And I'm going to show you two ways that you can do this. So, or two different views that you can create with your birds. So, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to give them both a little head by just creating a circle right on top. Fill it in. So same thing here. And then I'm going to give them some tails. By underneath their body, I am going to pull two lines out like a triangle almost. And then I'm going to pull some quick lines in between that so that it looks like a feathered tail. This one I'm going to pull to the side a bit, again to give it that feathered tail look. Now, if you want it to be like you're viewing the back of them, you can leave it as is. If you want it to be like it's the side, what I'm going to do is on their face, I'm going to create a little half triangle or sideways triangle there to create a beak, almost like they're kissing. So we have our little lovebirds there. Now that we have all of the silhouette parts in, I'm not going to wash my brush. I'm just going to go into some white paint, and I'm going to go through and create highlights in different places. So for example, on the tree, I'm going to create different highlights by simply using some white, and wherever I want to make a highlight, just make sure you're following the curve that's already there. Same thing on the birds. If you want to give them a bit of a highlight, you just want to make sure you follow the curve that's actually already there. I'm going to do some in their feathers. I'm going to go do a little bit in the grass to really give it some extra detail. I'm even going to use a little bit of this white to create a heart on my tree. And you can create it at the bottom. You can do it right here at the top, or the middle part is completely up to you. And I want to do this while my black is still dry, so it kind of looks carved in there almost. And then I'm gonna go through and actually add some flowers. Now, if you get to this step and you're like, I love it, I want to leave it as is, you can definitely leave it as is. Another thing you can do to the tree is with the burnt sienna or the brown that you're working with, if you want to add brown highlights to give it a little extra detail, you can always go through and add some brown highlights to make it a little more tree-like. But again, that part's completely up to you if you want to see some brown highlights on your tree. Now, as far as the flowers go, or the leaves, I'm going to show you how you can do a few different ones and you can decide on the colors. Now, I am going to do a few white ones first. And what I like to do, still using my smallest brush, you can either just tap down your brush to create bunches of leaves. If you want to go through and get really detailed and create bunches of little hearts, it's completely up to you. How you do it, again, it's completely up to you. If you want to go in with some yellow, you can use yellow and white. You can mix up blue and red to get purple. Whatever colors you want to see on your tree, it's completely up to you. But I'm just going through and kind of tapping a few very delicately through there. You can even make some look like they're kind of falling down, or put some in the grass. It's completely up to you. How you create your lovebirds, how you paint your love is up to you. But we're just gonna work on getting some flowers added in there, and then we'll move to the next step in just a few. All right, now once you feel like you have enough leaves and you have it filled in the way that you want it, the very last thing you want to make sure to do is simply sign your painting. Now you can sign it like we normally do by just picking a color, using your smallest brush and signing your initials or your signature in the corner. You can sign the back of the canvas, or if you want to, inside of that heart, you can always put your initials or whoever you love, your lovebird's initials, or you can even carve it down in the bottom of the tree. It's completely up to you. But once you have signed your painting, you are completely done and you now have your very own lovebirds. Thank you all so much for painting with me today. Happy Valentine's Day. I hope you all feel love today and spread love today. And as always, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe and turn on your post notifications. And I will see you in the next tutorial.